All right, MeepleTown, we are back.
We are live, baby.
We are on YouTube. This is actually a recording for our podcast and YouTube because we are going to be talking about our 2019 top 10 games. How about that?
Yeah, it's kind of like a mashup or something, you know? You like those? You like that kind of stuff, don't you?
How exactly is this a mashup?
Because we're mashing the podcast up with the YouTubes.
That's right. That is exactly right.
You like stuff like that.
Mashups? Yeah, I think so. I used to like Glee because of all the mashups they'd have on there. Man, this is difficult because I'm talking into this mic, but I also want to look at you and the camera.
Dude, all I say is we got to move past this Glee nonsense.
All right. We are going to be looking at our top 10 games for this video. Now, we are also going to be putting out another video right after this that is going to be talking about the MeepleTown
Game of the Year.
Game of the Year.
I gotta just
We're going to be talking about our nominations as well as the top game of the year for 2019. We also will have a video up already that is our top 10 2020
most anticipated games.
Anticipated games, that's right.
And so for those who are listening on the podcast, we're videotaping this right now.
Videotaping?
How old was that? We're videotaping.
Wow. Yeah.
Dude, that was one of my favorite things when we were kids, to make movies and videotape them, baby.
That's right.
I love that kind of stuff. Hey, let me make sure this mic's on real quick.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Boom in the shot.
Just wanted to make sure. Is it in the shot there?
I don't think so. I can't see.
All right, real professional. Let's go.
All right.
Start off.
John is going to start off with his number 10.
All right, so my number 10 for top 10 games of the year. Number 10 is, I'm pulling it up on my screen so that we can have this on that. The Taverns of Tiefenthal. How about that?
Hey, that's my number 10.
Seriously?
That's my number 10.
Right.
That's right.
High five. I guess that's the best we can do in this weird scenario that we have going on.
We don't have a large studio.
I can go left. I can go left. You go. No, you have to go right.
My hand is literally stuck under the microphone.
All right, so the Taverns of Tiefenthal. We can talk about this together then.
Yep.
This is a Wolfgang game. Yeah, we do talk about board games. And Dennis Lohausen did the art, which I think the art is very, very good in this game. It's a deck building game, a cool theme of being in a pub, serving beer, and doing different things like that. You've got dice drafting, you have deck building, you have a lot of really cool mechanics that comes together in I would say a medium-ish, medium weight game, and I think it's a really fun game.
That's right. So it has all those mechanics that I like. Now the thing that I really like you said medium game. I would even say like light to medium game with just the base game. But then you start adding in these different expansions, and it becomes a medium, not a medium heavy game, but a medium game. But the thinkiness that comes from adding in those expansions is great. So I really recommend to play this a lot, enough to be able to play all those expansions, the modules built into it.
Sure.
But it's an excellent game.
I really enjoyed it. Now, if we're just talking about, without adding any modules, this game wouldn't even sniff the top 10 for me, I don't think, because it gets old too fast to me.
Yeah.
It gets too samey. But when you add all the modules, then it's a fun game. I think that Wolfgang Warst did a fantastic job with this game. I enjoy it. My wife really enjoys this game. She said the other day, Dean, she was like, what was that game about, the pub or the beer? Because I really like that. And I was like, yeah, don't have that one. She's like, dang it. Does Dean have that one? Yes.
You can borrow it.
I know, that's what she's going to want. I think that was her subtle way. I said, babe, you can spend your own, spend some of our, so we give each other spending money. So we say, hey, babe, here's a little spending money. I know I'm getting off track a little bit, but that way we didn't spend what we want on it. I said, why don't you spend the money on that? Because I think I would like that. Let's go to number 9.
That's totally for you. Yep, number 9.
So my number 9 then, because those were both Dean and I's number 10, my number 9 is a game by Tony Boydell. It is I think just a little bit better than base game standard Snowdonia, and that is Alubari, A Nice Cup of Tea, which is Dean's favorite theme in a game. And guess what? Hey, I'm drinking a nice cup of tea right now, a little peppermint tea.
Hey, there we go.
That's for real.
Joke. When we did the review, you did the same thing, the same joke, the whole same bit there.
Crap. Sons of guns. Well, I like a nice cup of tea, and I like a nice cup of tea, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, there we go.
How about that? So in this game, you are... it's very much like Snowdonia, and you're going down these train tracks and you're delivering different goods and different things like that. You also have tea leaves that you're getting and you're growing on your farm as crops and just different things like that. You have your weather going on, which I like the weather better than Snowdonia. I like the way that it works here in Alibari a little bit better because the rain isn't just nasty. The rain can actually be good because it can help you grow crops. I don't know. You can get trains. You can get more than one train this time, or engines, or whatever they call it. I can't remember at the moment. I like that. I think this is a really good, solid game all around. Quite enjoyed. If you like Snowdonia, I definitely think you should check this game out. It may not make you want to buy this game.
That's right.
Because we talked about if you had the Master Deluxe set, I would rather have the Master Deluxe Snowdonia set than Alibari, but I'd rather have Alibari than just the base game of Snowdonia.
Yeah, if you don't want all of the Snowdonia stuff in the Deluxe Master set, and I don't think it's very easily accessible to get, I think Alibari is the way to go. And in fact, Snowdonia Master Set is a 2019 release, but it's a release of a straight up release of an older game. So that's why it's not on my list.
That's correct.
It would have made it. Now, there's another one that's iffy on my list after I just said that. Alibari, however.
You just set yourself up for failure.
I did. Alibari, just outside of my top 10. It's top 12, 13 for me. It's a really, really good game. I agree.
Quite enjoyed it. All right, well, what's your number 9 then? What's better than Alibari, buddy?
Well, for me...
Can I call you buddy?
Nope. Reavers of Midgard is a little bit better than Alibari for me.
Reavers of Midgard.
Reavers of Midgard. Midgard. This is fine.
You just did a mashup from Taverns of Tiefenthal and Reavers. Reavers of Midgard.
So, Reavers of Midgard is a follow-up game to Champions of Midgard, one that I really, really love with all the expansions. Reavers, I kind of had some expectations because of that game, and I was not let down. Now, this is a worker placement game, but the difference between this and most other worker placement games is that you are, in a non-two-player game, you're just placing one worker out onto the board, and there are only... 6 spots on the entire board, if I remember right.
Not a lot.
But the way that all that plays out, the Reaver cards I think are really cool. The ways that you gather points from the different cards that stack points on top of each other. There's some set.
You got the engine building thing
right,
going
engine
on.
Building. There's some set collection in this. There's a lot of really multi-use cards. There's a lot of things that I really enjoy, and the theme. I did not expect to like this game as much as I did. I had expectations, but I didn't think, it's a follow-up game, so it's, oftentimes not going to be as good as the original.
Games,
that's right? That's right. Now this, to me, I think I still might like Champions with all the expansions better, but this is still an excellent game. Reavers
I like this better than Champions
of Midgard. You do?
Yeah, this is definitely much more Euro style.
They're really close for me.
Yeah, this was just outside. It was one of the games that I was thinking about, but it didn't make my top 10. So I did quite enjoy this one this year. Good choice, Dean.
Thank you.
All right, so my number 8 is a game. I wonder if the YouTubes could hear that.
This is not good radio or YouTube.
It's actually excellent both. I'm not going to talk about this game anymore because it is further up Dino's list.
Oh, spoiler.
I'm just that we don't want to talk about it twice.
All right.
All right. So you're number 8.
My number 8 is a game that is not on your list for sure, and that is Lord of the Rings: Journeys in Middle-earth. This is a game I think probably would be higher on my list had I had chances to play it more.
Frodo!
What are you doing right now? Anywho, Lord of the Rings is a game kind of in the same vein of Mansions of Madness, but this is more of an adventuring game, like adventuring throughout this region instead of like just being inside of a house and looking for ghosts and all that stuff. But this one is an app-heavy game, but the way that the cards play out in this game, I really enjoy. And
did that whet your appetite?
What?
That is an app-heavy game.
Appetite. I got you.
Whet your appetite.
I got you.
Sorry.
Anywho, so you can actually see me rolling my eyes in the video. Normally, you can't see that on the podcast, but if you watch the YouTube video, you can see it. Slow-mo. Anyway, so this one it's a lot of fun. And again, I think probably as more expansion stuff comes out for this, because it's a Fantasy Flight game, there's going to be a lot of expansion stuff that comes out. I think I could get a lot of plays of this one in. My wife really enjoyed this one as well. Yep, this one probably is going to rise on my list.
There you go. Well, that was your number 8.
That's right.
My number 7 is a game that by a designer who I just dearly love, and that is Expedition to Newdale by Alexander Pfister and Lookout Games. Artist Clemens Franz. He always does a fantastic job. So if you like Oh My Goods, you've got to check out Oh My Goods, the board game, basically, which is Expedition to Newdale. Now, he does tweak some different things. The luck is a whole lot more mitigated in this game. This is one, Dean, you really need to play. I think that you might really like this game.
I really liked Oh My Goods. I think it was good. I mean, it really was.
It was good.
I didn't think it was great. I'm interested to try this one. It's just, there's a lot of games. There's a lot of games to play.
Well, if you don't like Oh My Goods, you still might like Expedition Newdale. I know there are people for a fact that said they don't like Oh My Goods. They don't like the luck. There's other things about it. I'm not going to go into the details that say they really like Expedition to Newdale. So with Expedition to Newdale, you're handed some cards and you're trying to do the most you can with the few cards. And there's also some worker placement spots in this game, which is they don't have worker placement spots in Oh My Goods. I think he just did an excellent job. It's got some story in the game, which is kind of cool. There's actually several boards. I think there's at least like 2 boards with different sides, like 4 different things, I think. So there's, anyways, I think he did a really, really good job. This is a really fun game. If you're into midweight Euros, this is a good one.
All right, now I just mentioned on my, which game was it? When we were talking about Alubari, that I wasn't going to put a reprint on my list. In a sense, there's kind of 2 of those.
But this is not quite.
Nay, 3 games that...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so my number 7 is Caelus 1303. Now, this is not just a straight-up port from the older version of Caelus. They made some changes on there. I had only played the app version of the original game, which I enjoyed. I thought it was good. But playing this game at the table was really good for me, and I'll tell you why. Partly, and large in part, because of the player interaction that happens in this game. Now, this is a mean Euro game. I will go ahead and say that. If you don't like mean Euro games, you might not like this one. You don't have to play that way, but I think that's kind of the intention, is the high interaction between players in this game. The other thing I like is the way that you're building up the board as the game goes along. So you are actually building worker placement spots that are going to be used in the game. And when you do that, you're going to gain a victory point, or maybe 2 potentially, or maybe none. But naturally, you would get 1 victory point when somebody else takes that spot. And I think that's really cool too, to see how that board grows in that sense. But also, on top of that, when you move this little guy on the horse called the Provost, if that gets moved too far back, then the spaces that you want to be able to take actions on, you're actually just going to straight up lose those workers. So there's high player interaction in that sense as well. So this is a really, really great game for me. I love it. Caelus 1303.
Yeah, I thought it was a good game. I like Andrew Bosley did the art. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Oh, it's beautiful.
The art was really, really great.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good game, not a great game for me. So I thought it was solid though. I thought it was decent.
Boo.
Yeah, it just didn't. Some of the Provost and some of the stuff. I don't know. I don't know what it was about this game. It just was kind of one of those ones that fell into the forgettable but not bad games.
Yeah, and our friend Jonathan, who writes for MeepleTown now, he falls in the same category.
We didn't even talk about that, so there you go. You just shouted it out.
Yeah, but if you like higher interaction games, I think you got to give this one a shot.
Go to MeepleTownGames.com if you want to see this. Click on blog and we will see. I actually had that up originally when we started this video because I didn't want it to spoil what my first game was. So anyways, there's Jonathan's blog. We've posted a couple. He's got more. We've got them in the pipeline ready to roll. So anyways, check that out. Also, if you want to get some MeepleTown swag.
Oh my goodness.
You can come in here and check out our MeepleTown swag. Hey, okay. So my number 6 is a game that it was my favorite 2-player only game this year. And it is up there for my favorite 2-player only game of all time, actually. And I'm talking about, let me refer. No, it's up there for my favorite 2-player only games of all time. It's not my favorite. But that is Foothills. And that's another, Tony Boydell again. Ben Bateson on this one as well. Artist Clemens Franz. Hey, how about that? You see something?
I've mentioned this before, John's love for Clemens Franz.
It's just the Euro style games that Daddy likey.
Oof.
Daddy like it a lot. So in Foothills, it's very much like Snowdonia. It's got a lot of Snowdonia feels, except for the actions are different. So instead of having a worker placement spot, you're going to be flipping cards over, which is really intriguing because whenever you do an action, you flip your card over and you have another action on the back, and the other action may not be quite as powerful. So you're trying to make a lot of really cool decisions over the course of the game with those cards as, man, do I want to do this action, but then it's going to flip over and now I'm going to have to do this less action that I don't really want to do so that I can get it to flip over to the good side because I really want to do this other action. And you're taking rubble off of tracks and all that kind of stuff, just like Snowdonia. Dean, this is one that you haven't played that I think you would really enjoy, actually.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's actually... you're talking about getting games played before we put this out. We just couldn't get all the games played that we really wanted to. Foothills was up there with one that I really wanted to try, just ran out of time. So if we go back and look at this list, hopefully I will have played it in that time.
I think you will like this one. That's that and Targi for this kind of type of a weight of a game are really, really up there. But I've recently played a 2-player only game that is easily at the top of the list probably now. Yeah, that's just a little plug for maybe a future episode.
Hey-o.
Or maybe not. All right, so what's your number 6?
Okay, I promised no reprints in my list, so my number 6 is Catan Starfarers.
Oh, yeah, this is straight up against what you just said.
It is. This is a great game. This is a great game. Now, if you've ever played Catan, that same core of the game is here. So you're rolling dice and you're getting resources. But the changes that are in this game are that you get to explore these new planets. So that's a big plus. I like the exploration part. You get to gain special powers throughout the game by going to the trading outpost. And you also will potentially be able to, not potentially, you will be flipping over these cards that give you a story element, and you have to decide how you're going to, almost like a choose your own adventure, cards that come out during the game. And all of those extra pieces really just reignited my love for Catan. I don't poo-poo Catan. I like it. I still play it, at least once, twice a year. But this is the version that I want to play every time. This game is fantastic. Yeah. Really enjoyed this. And I was really pleasantly surprised with this one. So one I'd wanted to try for a long time. I'm really glad I got a copy of this. So
for sure. This was one of my surprises of the year. I had never played the original Starfarers, but I thought they just tweaked some things that made the game better. I like how you get cards whenever you're behind. You know what I mean? Like you get extra resources. It makes Catan ramp up a whole lot faster. And I thought that was really cool. The story element's decent. I didn't love it as much as he did, but I mean, who cares? If I'm going to play Catan, this is the version I want to play. This was just outside. I really liked this.
Yeah, no, it's
very good game.
Even if you don't, the story elements, take it or leave it. Regardless, this is a more thematic game than Catan. Catan doesn't really have a theme with it. Like it could be anything, but with this, there is a sense that you are exploring into space, and the components in this game really help with that too, because they're through the roof.
Of original Catan.
Am I right?
They're out of this world.
Out of this world.
So my number 5 is a game that is, honestly, spoiler alert, it's going to be further up Dean's list, but that is Imperial Settlers Empires of the North.
Oof.
So let's just wait, and we'll hit that a little bit later on.
All right. Speaking of which, my number, wait, what is this? Number 4?
You're number 5.
Number 5.
You're exactly after me. I went first, so you literally just have to say the number that I just said.
And I'm looking directly at my list, so I could just look at the number on my list. Anyway, my number 5 is. Should I save it?
You were right about earlier in the podcast when you said that Matt is smarter, at least than one of us.
I don't know.
Of course,
who you're talking
I just
about.
got beat twice last night by someone.
This
I'm
guy.
saying is not smart. Yep. So
I was going to say what has 2 thumbs and beats you in games, but I cannot move my right hand, so I can only use one.
Oh my
anyway,
gosh.
So my number 5. You
always beat me in games. You just made everyone think that you always beat me.
Always 100% win ratio.
Not in Tapestry the other night.
Maybe that's right.
Let's talk about that for
All
a while.
right. You beat me by 1 point. 1 point. We might talk about that game later.
I thrashed you.
All right. Number 5 is Maracaibo. We're going to talk about that later.
Okay. Number 4 is Tapestry. We're going to talk about that later.
We are bottlenecking right now.
We are bottlenecking.
All right. Now here's the game we can talk about. My number 4 is John's. What number for you was this?
My number 8.
John's number 8. That is Wingspan. This is going to be the first of 2 games that we talk about from Stonemaier Games. And this one is by designer Elizabeth Hargrave, who has really just blown up the board gaming world with this game. And not even just the board gaming world, but so many people are coming to know board games because of this game, because it's beyond the normal reach of what these other board games are that we're talking about. But in Wingspan, you are building a tableau of birds, and you are collecting these birds within your player board into 3 different areas. And the gameplay itself is actually really simple. You're just going to be taking the action of one of these rows or putting a bird out onto your board. And then when you do that, all the birds that you've placed in that row, if they have an action that triggers, you're going to trigger all of those. So engine building really is at the core of this game, and it is just a lot of fun. And we've introduced this to several people who have really enjoyed this one as well.
That's true.
Man, it's a really stinking good game.
So Dean, I realize that I have, we've had this screen up here to record for the YouTubes, and I haven't been clicking on any pictures the entire time. I've just left it on the original screen.
Amazing. Excellent.
So that's how smart I am. So this is a game that's number 8 for me of the year. It was a game when we did our first YouTube review, our only YouTube review of it. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. I've jumped that up to an 8.5 just because I really enjoy it. This game is good. I wasn't sold on it at first, I'll be real. I remember thinking that it was good, but not great. And the more I played it, the more I was like, wow, this game really it's really fantastic. For all those reasons that you said. Yeah, Wingspan, Elizabeth Hargrave did an amazing job with this game. It's no wonder I understand why it sold a lot.
Yeah, it
is the number 1 family game. Look at this. The number 1 family game on BGG. The number 24 game overall. Wow. In less than it's over a year now. Okay, erase what I just said. In about a year. That's right. Holy smokes!
It's crazy. It's really taking the board gaming world by storm. Everyone is paying attention to new games that she has coming out, and I will say, this is one that is an excellent solo game too. This is my. We'll talk about this actually on Favorite Game Friday, but my favorite solo game, I think, is Wingspan, because the way that this plays out, it's really simple. You don't have a lot of upkeep in this game. You can just play your game, but also play against the automa. So really good game overall.
Sweet.
Wingspan.
All right, so that was my number 8 again. That was Dean's number 5. My number 4, let me make sure I got that right. No.
3.
My number 3. Sorry, I forgot that
all you got to do is look at your screen.
We breezed past Tapestry. We flew past Tapestry, which didn't lay an egg. My number 3 is Paladins of the West Kingdom. Dean's favorite game.
It's not, but I like this game.
Yeah, it's not Dean's favorite, but in Paladins of the West Kingdom, so I like Raiders of the North Sea. I like Architects of the West Kingdom. This game just took things I liked about in those games and took Shem Phillips, who I think is doing an absolutely fantastic job, and just made it a more complex Euro game. And that was exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, simply, it was I love how you have to put out different types of workers onto your spots. You don't just put, a worker in one spot and you're done. You have to put the different colors in there. You have to do a whole lot of planning. I love how you get the Paladin cards and you're trying to decide which Paladin card that you want to go to. I love how when you take buildings off like Tapestry, you have bonuses on the bottom below those. I think that is just really, really neat, really, really cool. Man, this just leads to a lot of interesting decisions. Now, it does lead to potential. Now, I know every game can be AP, but there's definitely some AP. This is an AP prone game to me, and that is because, if you screw up something, like you have to have enough virtue to be able to, enough faith or strength or something to be able to do certain actions, and I will screw up. I'll forget, oh shoot, I've only got 3 and I needed 4 for that, and have to go back and rethink my entire plan. That would be my only little tiny knock. I really like this game. I was surprised at how much that it would be this high. For sure, I was surprised. What a game.
Yep, it's a really good game. Did not make my list. But doesn't mean it's not a good game. Yeah, it is. It is a lot of fun. All right, my number 3 is a game that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. Not quite yet, right?
That is true.
All right.
All right, so we'll move on to my number 2. And my number 2 is a game that was on Dean's list. And then what was that for you, Dean? Number 4 or 5?
That was my number 5. Yep.
Number 5, yep. And your number 5 is my number 2. And that is Maracaibo, baby! Another Alexander Pfister game.
You love the Alexander Pfister.
Man, he just keeps coming out with really great games.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, he really does. So in Maracaibo, you are a privateer. Let's make sure that we say that. We made a YouTube video where Dean just decided to get funny.
That's a good use of air quotes, actually.
He decided to get funny and just said, "Arr!" and it just came to him. He wasn't really... And then we said it was a pirate game, and we got corrected, which should have been, I guess, because you're privateers. And you're going around the Caribbean, and you're selling, and you're doing really neat stuff. The card play is fantastic in this game. The tableau building is fantastic. You're building your tableau. You're getting assistance, which you really like, to go out on the board. I'll let you talk about that, because that's one of the things you really like about the game.
Yeah. It's funny. It's a little bit like I mentioned in Kalis, the thing I really like is building up the board. With the assistance in this, you're not really doing that in the same way, but when you put out a card that has an assistant, that assistant goes to a specific spot.
Just like that.
Then when you go around to that spot later, you take the action of that assistant. I think that's a really cool, unique mechanism of the game. So that's not the only reason I like this game, but this is just a fantastic game for a lot of reasons. It
really is. There's these little synergy tokens that make the tableau play really cool, where you're trying to get synergies between the cards and the tokens and all those things. Really, really fun. I like the influence track where you kind of have some area control going on. Dean doesn't like that as much as I do, but I do enjoy that. Even though I'm not a big area control guy, but in this game it works, and I like that. A lot of really neat pieces just come together for a wonderful production, an incredible game. This is one of my favorites of his, and I really like his games, but this is definitely one of my favorites of his. That's Maracaibo. Fantastic game. Number 2 for me. Number 5 for Dean.
Okay, my number 2 was number what on your list?
Wow, I believe it was number 5.
Number 5.
Yep.
Really?
What do you mean,
that's
really?
Pretty good. Yes, that's high.
I like this game.
That is Imperial Settlers, Empires of the North. Now, if you've listened to us in the past, we've talked about 51st State. We've talked about Imperial Settlers. And those are both fantastic games. This one, Empires of the North, gets the nod as my favorite of all of those. This game is absolutely fantastic. If you really like card playing games where you are building an engine through your card plays, I really think that this is one of the best ones out there. If you played Everdell, it kind of has that feel to it, but it's different enough from Everdell. There's a lot more player interaction in this game. The components are nice, the cards are beautiful, the artwork is beautiful, all of it. I think it's just a fantastic game, and a better version of those other ones. It just seems like kind of honing in on the things that you really like about those other games, and this is just the product of a lot of years of working out the kinks of this game.
That guy's Abominable is adorable.
It is, isn't it?
Would you say that this is your favorite of the Imperial Settlers? Or no?
I just said that.
I mean, you pretty much just said that. I just wanted to make it straight up.
Straight up.
For real.
Straight up, it is my favorite.
Look at those sheep
absolutely.
eating that food.
You would have heard me say that had you not been looking at all the cute
No,
sheep
I heard you
there.
say that you thought it was improved upon and all that. I just wanted you to definitively say this is your favorite.
It is my favorite.
There you go. I thought it was, for all the reasons Dean said, I think it's a really excellent game. I like engine building games. It does feel like Everdell, which really we could say Everdell feels like original Imperial Settlers.
Sure, yeah.
But this game is way more wide open than Imperial Settlers, and I'm still not sure which one I like the best. I think I like this the best, but I can't definitively say that for sure. I like how you do have the action wheel and stuff like that.
Yeah, you mentioned
really cool
you mentioned earlier. What game was it? About the game ramping up better, a version of a game ramping up better.
Starfares.
Yeah, Starfares. That's right. So how the game ramps up better. This one does as well, but a lot of it has to do with that action circle.
Yeah. You get a million cards on the table with this.
Yes.
Which that's the only thing. It's a lot. You can almost go through the whole deck. if you play it right.
Sure. Yeah. You can. You can.
So, anyways, I thought it was excellent though.
Yeah,
excellent
and there's already an expansion out for this. There's 2 more that have been announced for these. I'm interested to see them kind of branch out into, hopefully branching out to some new factions instead of ones that they've already used in games of the past. So there's the Japanese faction, the Romans, and the Barbarians. I would like to see something new that we haven't seen in Imperial Settlers before, but that's a minor complaint. Maybe not a minor complaint, but it is a complaint.
It is? Wow. Okay.
It's more than a minor complaint. I want more. That's what I'm saying. Does that mean?
I'm trying to talk and I'm waiting for you to finish. Are you finished?
That's Imperial Settlers. Empires of the North.
All right. That is Dean's number 2 game of the year. That's high.
Very high.
My number 1 game of the year, if anyone's listened to the podcast, probably isn't going to be surprised by this. Maybe you thought it could be a toss-up between Maracaibo and this, and it can be. But you know what? I am going with Fun Tales, new to the publisher, Realms. Can I say Realms?
I don't know.
I think that it is. Matthias Kramer, Glenmore II Chronicles, my number 1 game of the year. In Glenmore II Chronicles, you are going around a rondel and you're putting out tiles. But the cool thing is when you put out a tile, it's going to activate the tiles surrounding it, which is really, really neat. There's a little bit of engine building in this game. There is a lot of me playing terrible in this game. Dean and I played last night. I am bad.
You're really bad at this game.
You know what I did, though, Dean? I did go look at... That's the box of original Glenmore and Glenmore.
I used to own the original Glenmore and got rid of it because this game's amazing.
My winning percentage is actually 37% on this game. So, I guess I'm not as bad as I thought, but I am bad. I think I just play against my kids to raise my winning percentage. What do you think?
Oh,
you think that's what I do?
That's really sad.
All right, and one of the cool things, so there's so much to like about this game. There's so much to like about it over the original in the sense, I love the extra board. The clans board is what you would call that you have it on there.
Yes.
I love all the Chronicles. It makes this game, I've got a picture of the Chronicles on the screen. I love how it makes this game so much replayability. But here's why it's my number 1. I've thought about this last night as we played. It packs a ton of game into a fairly short time span, and I enjoy a good 2-player game. I really do, because I will say I play mostly 2 players. I mostly play with my wife, or I mostly play with you too, Dean. And sometimes we have more higher player counts often, but more often than not, it's us.
Yeah.
And this game plays really great at 2, and yeah, it really does. I love the way the scoring works, Yeah. I have to pay attention to Dean all the time and see where he's at, and I can't get way more whiskey like he was doing last night than me, or it's gonna mess up what I'm wanting to do. So I had to combat that, and I just think it's just got really cool parts of that. You feel fulfilled, and honestly, in 2 players, like an hour.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more than an hour, but my plays have been around that.
Part of it depends on the Chronicle, too, but you can play just the base game in under an hour, I would say, with 2 players.
And part of it does depend on the Chronicle. You're 100%, or Chronicles if you want to add multiple Chronicles to the game.
That's right.
Which is really, really neat. Again, that's increasing the variability, increasing the replayability. So if I want to play a long game, I would probably rather play Maracaibo. But if I want a game, but you know what I mean? But overall, the reason it's number 1 is I know I'm going to play this more often because I can play it quicker, I can teach it a little bit easier,
That's right.
and I'm going to play this a whole lot more. So that's why I'm giving this my number 1 game of the year, Glenmore II. Love it.
Yeah, it is a fantastic game. That's why it's my number 3. I think I played the original several times, and I really liked the original. But the things that I didn't like were really fixed in Glenmore II. One of those being the clansmen that you have. There is one of the scoring things that you get from this game is, in this game, it's having your clansmen in your home castle. Now, in the original game, you had to get rid of that clansman in order to score points for those chieftains then being, whoever has the most chieftains, which was really annoying because you couldn't use those anymore. They were just out of the game. But in this one, you can still use them, and you can even, move them around. Even if they're in the home castle for a scoring round, you can move them out later on. I really enjoy that, and the clan board that you talked about. Same on that.
Yeah.
Just a fantastic game. Yeah, this is high praise from both of us.
I feel like this game is being a little bit overlooked. And I've heard some people say that as well.
Yeah, and that's interesting to me because...
I think it's because it's fun tells, though.
It's got so much hype from the people who have played it. Like, I've not seen anyone say, oh, this game is terrible. I've seen a lot of people say, I'm really interested in this, I don't know, and then they try it and they're like, oh, this game is amazing. Yeah. I've seen a lot of that, so...
I think this could be a... I don't want to say it could be a Concordia in the sense of just a game that slowly creeps. You know what I mean? Where, like, people, over time... sit back and go, that's a really good game. And it may take more time, but I think it will climb the charts because of that. And I think that Funtails crushed it with the productions through the roof.
Yeah. Yep.
They did. I'm really excited to see what else they come out with. Mm-hmm. I really am. But Glenmore II Chronicles, Matthias, man, came out, thought about probably Glenmore a whole lot, and nailed it with this. Fantastic job.
Speaking of nailing it and high production value, my number 1 and John's number...
5.
John's 4. John's number 4 is Tapestry.
That is, hey, wow, this is a controversial. It has to be, because this is a controversial game, Dean.
What?
What do you mean? What? Like, people hate this game.
People love this game.
I know, that's what I'm saying. People were waiting for this to come out so they could poo on it. I'm serious. Like, right, almost like no other game. Like, because of the price tag, because of the production. I'm going to pull up pictures of the buildings here. Like, people are. Like, we're waiting to give this a bad score. There's a lot of controversy, I feel like, around a game that is excellent.
For some people watching this video, you might hear nothing else right now. You might hear blah, 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 Tapestry. He only likes it because it's a Stonemaier Games game.
That's exactly right.
But they're absolutely wrong, because this is an amazing game for us. We love this game. It is my favorite game of the year, and I've even, we've been trying to get all the games that we want to play in 2019, but also the ones that we wanted to rate pretty high. We wanted to get these played again, and so we just played this the other day just to make sure, is this really my favorite game of the year? Absolutely it is. This game is just so much fun. Now, here's the thing. I like games where you're moving up on tracks. I don't really care for Ganz Clever, which is that game specifically, but like Endeavor and this game, and there's several other games like that where you're just moving up on a track and you're gaining different benefits as you go. But this one also has the polyomino aspect of it. It has technologies that you're using. Now, the technologies are a little wonky because you might develop like a flying car before you develop penicillin or something like that. That's not actually a thing. But the time frame and the theme really mean nothing to me in this game. I don't think that they're really that important. It doesn't feel like a Civilization game, which is what it's supposed to be, but it doesn't matter for me. I just love this game. I love all the different aspects of it, and I want to play it all the time. This is the one, this and a couple others on the list where I've thought about over and over and over
again.
So
much to explore in this game.
Yes, so much. Now here is a negative for me. Even though it's my favorite, I will say that the factions that you start off with, when they came out in the game, they weren't fully out, all out balanced, and there was a lot of really big pushback on that. Now, Stonemaier Games has really run the numbers to see which factions are really winning a lot more, and then they put out this sheet in the FAQ that you can look at, and so you can play with different handicaps for these factions. Now, whether or not those are balanced, I don't know, and I think there could be some of the balances are just give this player 15 more points than the other players. That's not my favorite way to balance out factions, but I still think it's fantastic, and I want to explore more and more this game, Tapestry.
Yes, I really liked it. This and Paladins was a toss up for 3 and 4 for me, honestly. So it was I really like. It's a fairly easy to teach game. My wife really loves this game. I like tracks. I do. I like to go up a good track, and you do here. I wish there was a little variability in the tracks. Dean and I have talked about that in the sections maybe, but then it wouldn't be as pretty because you probably have cards on the board instead of it, instead of it being printed on the board. So, some of that I don't, negatively, I don't like. I don't love the Tapestry cards, how there can absolutely be some luck in just getting the right ones at the right time. You can definitely go out and get a bunch, like I did last game.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I was like, I'm not going to get hosed with a bad Tapestry card.
Which you can still get
And
hosed with bad Tapestry cards.
So that's my big negative. Besides that, everything else is very positive. I just think that this is such a great game. It does have great production. Yes, I understand that everyone can't pay $80 for it, and I didn't. Like, it stopped me, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's the reality of things. So, like, and if you want to poo on it for that, that's fine. Like,
sure.
I guess you can say that. I'll make the argument 100 times. If someone wants to be Audi and makes really cars that are really fancy and nice like that, I don't care.
Right.
If that's what Jamie wants to do, let him do what he wants to do. It's his company.
Yeah. I will say this, though.
I think it's, yeah.
If you like those games where you're moving up on a track and you've really avoided this because for some reason you're anti-Stonemaier or something like that, which I don't get, but if you're that person, I really feel like you're missing out. Like, if this could be a style of game, don't just dismiss it because it doesn't seem to be what you want to support. But anyway.
There it is.
But all that to say, so that it doesn't sound negative, I think Stonemaier puts out great games, and I really like what they're doing. So, anyway.
That's it, man.
Tapestry.
That's our top 10 games of the year.
That's right. So, right after the break, we're going to come back, and we're going to give our number one combined game of the year along with our other nominations for 2019 MeepleTown Games of the Year. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at MeepleTown Games, and connect with us on the MeepleTown Guild number 3407 at BoardGameGeek.com, and also subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. And until next time, thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.